life just gets harder. And you just kind of roll with it. I mean, you don't really let it affect you too much, but you just gotta know that stuff is harder than it used to be. But everything is just more difficult. We all think we're 20 years old still, maybe. I mean, I certainly do. Things don't operate the way they used to when I was, 20 years old. I mean, moving around is harder. Changing the TV channel is harder. Going outside, everything has a consequence now, which it didn't before. And it's kind of funny. It's one of those things you just kind of learn to deal with. It's part of the stage of life, but you don't move as fast as you used to. You don't. You creak your old bones. Kind of hurt when you move. I always laugh at myself. Like, how many ways can I find to hurt myself these days? You got to be really careful. You got to be more and more careful as you go, because things get weird. It's life gets weird. As you get older, it's kids don't really understand this, but it's true. I mean, getting in and out of the car is hard. Getting the stuff from in the front door is hard. Technology just is irritating anymore. That's the other thing. You find that even if you're in a good mental place, stuff's just irritating like it didn't used to be. It's like, what the heck is that? You watch people on TV and there are things we've done our whole lives that we just kind of rolled with, that now you look at and you go, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? So it's easy to become frustrated and irritable in ways that I never did. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just, maybe I'm the one that's getting older and getting crankier. I don't know. Financial insecurity. That's a big one. The second really big one is health insecurity. Social isolation, or fading into irrelevance, you might call it. We are reduced in our mobility in a lot of ways. We don't have the same physical energy or the same capacity that we have. Then the fifth one's sort of a general category of things just seem to get a little harder. Financial insecurity is the absolute worst. I've been there. I know that. One of the things I did was get rid of my car, and it's been less of an issue than I thought it was going to be. Save your money for experiences. The experiences are what will make you happier and a better person. Let's talk about health. As we get older, health matters more and more. At least it comes to the surface more and more. Even if you're healthy, things can go wrong. Things can set you back that didn't used to set you back. I know I wake up many mornings and my toe hurts, or my little finger hurts, or my knee pops when I walk, and I'm in pretty good shape. I walk a lot. I do things. I move around. I'm flexible and all that. I've taken care of myself over the years, more or less. However, as you get older, stuff just gets weird. So right this minute, this hurts. I don't know why. My thumb. And those little dull, achy pains can kind of ruin your day if you allow it. Healthcare costs are crazy. Med costs are crazy. It's best if you can avoid the healthcare system and the meds and all that. I mean, I don't think that's too controversial for YouTube. That would seem to be fairly obvious. That if you're the master of your own health, you're going to be better off than if you're reliant upon a system that doesn't really care about you. But by the same token, you can't ignore little things like I just showed you, like that hand thing. A big part of our health care at this point is our own personal education as to how our bodies work. And it's also a commitment to understanding your own feelings, how you feel, how your body reacts to this and that. So much of being healthy is simply being aware of your surroundings and knowing how you react to the energetic moment, really kind of becoming a lot more aware of yourself. Another thing that is of concern as you get older is that we're honestly just a little more brittle than we used to be. We're not as physically capable as we once were, even if we're in good shape. Little things can, well, break. I mean, honestly. You have to really be aware of where you are, what you're doing. Make sure that you're within your limits. The longer you stay healthy, the better your retirement's going to be. I can tell you that from personal experience. Do the things that you know you can do. Make sure that we're maximizing the things that we can fix. One of the big ways to do that is to eat proper food. I'm not going to pretend that I know some formula for what you should eat. Everybody's different, but you know what works for you. And if you don't, get serious with yourself until you understand how your body functions and what it wants. Not so much what it wants, what it needs. The short story here is the best thing you can do for your health is to get real with your body, to understand who you are, what you are, how you are in the world, and fix everything that's within your control. I say fix. Work with everything that's in your control such that you are handling the things that you can handle. Understand what's outside of your control and get help. Just keep in mind that your health is ultimately your responsibility. The single best thing you can do for yourself is to become aware of yourself and to know what works for you and what doesn't, what foods to eat and what foods not to eat, places to go and places not to go, activities to take and activities not to take. Another big issue we face as retirees, it's easy to feel like you've become irrelevant. It's easy to feel like you've become disconnected to the society around you. And in some ways we do. When we disconnect from work, when we disconnect from social events that we used to attend, we do become somewhat invisible. It's more a matter of mindset. Do we really need to be relevant all the time? We can use our energy to facilitate those moments when we need to be there. Have focused awareness how we present when we present. Yeah, we don't need to be relevant all the time anymore. If we ever did, I don't think we ever do, but I think we're supposed to know that by now. Show up when you need to show up, but be happy with your solitude, your silence. It's good for you. It's really, there's nothing wrong with that. Are we reduced in terms of our overall relevance? Maybe, but I don't think we have to care as much. Another thing we deal with as older people is that technology seems to be outpacing us. It's changing faster than we can. And if you haven't been tech-oriented or technologically oriented during your career, this could be a real problem. Be on the alert for scams. There are some very sophisticated scammers out there, and there have been enough hacks that people know by your information that's out there, kind of how old you are, and they know that you might be a target for some of their little games. Don't take anything at face value. Make sure that you're understanding who you're dealing with, what they're talking about. And if somebody asks you to do something right now, be careful. Be very careful. There's very few things you need to do right now, particularly online. There's almost nothing you need to do online right now. Question everything. Question everything. A fourth general concern when you retire is a reduced mobility. And it shows up in a number of ways. As I mentioned, I don't have a car anymore, so obviously that is a lack of mobility. But more than that, I know a lot of us have physical issues that prevent us from moving around the way we used to. Sometimes you just find that going places is more of a problem than it ever was, and you just don't do it as much. So we face a form of restlessness. And I know if you're from the United States, it's, we're used to moving around a lot. We're used to having freedom of movement, and we use it. We move a lot. We do a lot of things. And as you get older, it's not quite as easy or as comfortable to do those things. Driving has become an issue, honestly. Driving is crazy anymore. As your eyesight disappears a little bit, even if it hasn't just yet, it probably will at some point. I tell you what, the highway is a young man's game. You want to be careful out there. It's bizarre, and there are definitely some let's say some mental hurdles to deal with if you've been on the move your whole life. So there's some very serious ones. Financial insecurity is a very serious issue. Healthcare and health insecurity is a very serious issue. Certainly our slipping out of societal norms and sort of becoming, quote, irrelevant is an issue that's worth talking about. Lack of mobility. It can be really debilitating and kind of scary and very frustrating. And then stuff's just harder. It just gets harder by the day. But it's all good. We'll be all fine. We're all fine. Life is good. Life is fun. So have a great evening. It's a beautiful day here in North Georgia. Loving life. Get off of my lawn.